I got in a lot of trouble.
May I ask, what was your method of cheating?
And I cuffed my hand over my paper.
Oh, no.
I know.
You're supposed to put that under your thigh.
Yes.
See, you know. You're supposed to put that under your thigh and be moving your leg.
Yeah,
you know.
And this is the reason why I got caught, everybody. This is the reason why I got caught.
Cuff it.
Yes. I was
Shout
trying to cuff it in my hand. Hi, everyone. This is Ebony.
And this is Denise.
And welcome back to
Team2Moms,
the podcast. Thank you so much again for joining us for another episode. I cannot believe it.
Can't believe that.
Yes.
It's like flying by so fast. We are having so much fun, and we have another great episode for you guys today because we have a very special guest.
Today's guest, hold on. Let me take my time with this. Today's guest is an award-winning journalist. Let me say that again. Is an award-winning journalist and media personality. We honestly couldn't think of a better person to help us talk about working in a constantly evolving industry. Everyone, please help me welcome Shar Jossell.
Yay! Thank you all so much for having me. This is so exciting. I'm ready to dive into today's conversation.
We are.
This is an honor. It's really an honor. Thank you for having me.
No, we are honored. Hold up. Don't be giving us the praises. You're our guest.
Yes, that is true. But, we're in this together. It's good.
Yes,
we are
we
in this together. So tell me, how's your week been going?
Oh my gosh, my week has been hectic, but I mean, what's new? I mean, I am
busy.
I'm a walking stereotype for my star sign. I'm a Capricorn.
Okay. Capricorn.
So it's a lot of work.
Our
daughter's a Capricorn.
Really?
Yes.
And you all are two fire signs, right?
Yes, we are. Ooh, you've been doing your research.
We've been learning a lot about astrology throughout this podcast.
It's fun, right?
It is a lot.
I feel like in LA, it's such a novelty that you have to know like your big three in order to establish any form of conversation with a lot of people.
Yes.
But it's just been a busy week. It's been a fun week. And I mean, I'm treading water, so to speak.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. I love it. Okay, so now you are a media personality and journalist. So that means you have to stay up to date with everything.
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
Well, what I will say is that I focus on a lot of entertainment news. And I'm so glad that I made that pivot over a decade ago. I started with hard news, but then I went into entertainment news.
What made you make that pivot?
Stress. It's a lot. It is a lot. I always tip my hat to journalists who work in hard news. I'm talking about your people who work for the LA Times, the people who do your Channel 7, because there's a level of disassociating there that you have to do in order to survive, because it's just constant. You're being hit with thing after thing after thing, and it's always disastrous.
Correct.
And so it wasn't for me. I saw some things, I witnessed some things. It was not for me. And so I'd much rather talk about, I don't know what Kylie's doing with Timothy Chalamet than to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. But I do both. I dabble in both, but my primary focus is entertainment. And so I forgot. What was your question? Oh my goodness. It just slipped my mind.
How do you even stay on top of all the trends?
So it's a juggle. It's a juggle. I really haven't been on Twitter as much since Muskie took over. But, I try to...
Did y'all catch that? I hope y'all caught that.
Yes, that is what I call... He ruined the platform, but he did. That was by design, in my opinion. It was deliberate. Because it was too news-based, and he came in there and wanted to shake everything up.
Shook it up.
Yep.
It's newsletters, it's community, it's people, and I really just dive into, and also talk shows. I'm a big talk show girl. And so I just dive into like current topics and pop culture and kind of just stay abreast that way.
Is there anything currently going on right now where you're like, ooh, give me all the tea. I gotta stay on top of it. Like for us, we are so into Love is Blind.
Love is Blind.
Oh my God.
Wait, did you see
that drama?
Because Love is Blind, I just binged it. I watched the first season. Listen, I got to be honest. When it comes to dating reality shows and when it comes to competition reality shows, I'm not really a fan of those.
No.
Really?
My type of reality show is ensemble. Like I'm a Real Housewives girl.
Okay.
I like the real world. I like ensemble social situations. After a while, like when I think back to like American Idol or Top Model, 3 seasons in, I'm like, I kind of know protocol
You
by
already
now.
know.
You already know.
So Love is
Drama.
Blind, I had not been watching, and then the other day I started binging.
It's this season.
This one is a sloppy hot mess.
This one is a hot mess.
It's a sloppy hot mess. So I've been diving into that. Real Housewives of Atlanta, of course.
Yes.
I've also been loving the Escape, and well, it just ended. It ended a while back, but Escape, you know, Candy's group and SWV, Coco's
And that
group.
whole controversy that's going on about the equal pays and stuff.
Yes. And then when it comes to scripted TV, honestly, it runs the gamut for me. It could go anywhere from Law and Order SVU, because I still watch that, to Abbott Elementary. So it's all over. But yeah, I kind of just do comfort TV and comfort programming if I don't have to cover anything.
Correct.
Because covering it and reporting on it for me takes the joy out of it, because you have to be so in tune. You have to be cerebral in order to report it, versus just relaxing and having a time, you know, by yourself.
Correct.
You're jotting down notes and getting quotes and things like that.
When you're reporting, do you interject your personal experiences, your opinions, or do you try to stay neutral, give everybody a shot, or does it depend on what you're speaking on?
It depends on what I'm speaking on.
Okay.
For the most part, what I will say is that I've been doing a lot of, when it comes to like cultural analysis,
Correct.
that seems to be like the soft space for me right now. Because objectivity is subjective. You know, I was taught in school to be objective, but it's like objective to whom? Because my experience as a Black woman who's trans, and what I might view as objective, someone as a white cisgender heterosexual man may look at that as bias, you know?
Correct.
So it's like objective to whom. And so a lot of the things I've been doing over the past few years have been like op-ed, like opinion editorial. And like I said, offering my own like cultural analysis and critique on whatever the subject might be.
I love that.
That is great. Now, did you always wanted to do what you're currently doing?
So not always, well, kind of. It's one of those things where I always liked reporting. I just didn't know that I liked reporting, or I didn't know that that's what I was doing. Like,
From what age?
From childhood, really. I was the announcements girl.
Oh, like in school?
Please rise for the what is it, the Pledge of Allegiance. Girls volleyball practice is canceled at 3 on Thursday. I was that. Yes, so
that's amazing.
I did all of that.
Look how you walked into your calling.
Yes. No, and it was by accident. It was like by design, but also by accident.
Yes.
And so, but yeah, I always did that. And so it was something that I ended up, you know, once I went to college, I was like, I kind of enjoy this. I can kind of see myself doing this. And yeah, so I've been pretty much reading and talking, and, you know, I stood up in front of the church and was doing the Easter speeches too, and all of that. So yeah, that's kind of my backstory.
That's your backstory.
Now, when it comes to your career, was there a point where you felt like you had to know people to get in the industry? Like,
that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Networking.
no one cares what you know. It's who you know.
Who you know.
Speak on it, Shar, please.
That is
Speak
the
on
truth.
it.
I always kind of complain about that, because I feel like, I mean, there's no harm in that. But I think the harm, the injustice that was done to all of us was that in the American school system, in my opinion and in my experience, we are conditioned to believe that life is a meritocracy. It is not. You know, you get the A on the test, you get the pizza party. You do this, you do that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You do that, you got your internship. Once you enter the cold, hard world, it is not that way. No one cares what your GPA was or what sorority you're a part of. It's literally all with who you know. Because there are people that are in positions that, in my view, I'm like, well, how the hell did she do that? Or how the hell did he can't even read? How is he on TV? You know? So I think that that's one of the cruelest lessons that life has taught me. But yes, it is contingent on, in my experience, not only who I know, but making sure that I do the work. Making sure that the work can be supported, just in case it's met with any type of objection. You know, like, well, why would you turn her down? Look at this resume.
Look at this resume.
You know, and then it forces people to be a little bit more honest as to why they might be turning me down.
Ooh.
Very
good.
Very
That's
good.
when it gets messy.
I love it.
Is there anything different you would have done with your career, looking back at where you are
What
today?
would you tell like young Shar?
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah, you kind of stumped me with that one. I guess what I would tell young Shar is the same thing I would tell present day Shar, is just to keep going.
Yes.
Because, it can be very frustrating. I feel like living in Los Angeles it's very political. Even just the ways in which you show up. I'm not talking about like political, like go to the voting booth. I'm talking about like your identity politics.
Yes, I get exactly.
And how you show up and navigate this rocky terrain in this weird industry can be very strange. And if I could do anything differently, would I do anything differently? Yes, I would. And I'll tell you what I do. I met this woman who works in PR, and she told me that when she went to college, each summer she did an internship.
Okay.
So by the time she graduated, she had a year's worth of experience under her belt.
Wow.
And once she told me that, hi, Ashley, if you're watching. Once she told me that, I was like, damn, can I curse on here?
Curse.
I'll say dang, because I'm with the moms. I'll say dang.
I think they'll bleep it out.
Okay. I don't want the children, So I'll say dang. Okay. But I was like, if I could do anything differently, that is what I would have done. I would have actively sought. I mean, I did 2 internships, but I would have actively sought more experiences, like try to do a magazine, then a newspaper, because I was all about television. And so I would have done more radio, instead of being in LA and being I've done all of that stuff,
I think we feel the same. I have a degree in electrical engineering. My wife has a degree in forensic science.
Yes.
So yeah, I would give the same advice, like do internships, because I did none. And I think that would have gave me more experience in corporate America and prepared me a little bit more better. So.
Yeah. Well, at my school, we were required to do at least one internship in order to graduate. So that was helpful.
Was that in high school?
No, this was in undergrad.
In undergrads, yes. In undergrads, I had to do an internship as well before I went out into the field.
Whenever I hear forensic science,
yes, girl,
I think about, this is so random, but Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child, I believe that's what she was majoring in, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And then when she was like a sophomore in undergrad, Kelly and Beyonce came calling. And she was like, bye. Yeah. So
but similar to you, like, right, you said you had switched and pivot from like hard news to like more entertainment news. For me, that's why I pivot from doing criminalistic. It was hard. It was very hard to disassociate yourself from a lot of the different cases. As soon as we became pregnant, I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I can't do this. And then I always had a creative brain. So I was like, let's leave this. Let's get into the creative space. Yeah. But you mentioned that you said living in LA. Are you born and raised here?
No, I'm from Chicago originally.
From Chicago.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a little bit about your upbringing in Chicago.
Okay, well, I should let me clarify. I'm from right outside of Chicago, but I'm in what they call the Chicagoland area. Okay. So if you stand on the right angle on Halsted, I can see the Sears Tower from my house. Really, it's in the clouds. It's kind of in the clouds, but I can see so I'm not like far out. I'm in the Chicagoland area.
Okay.
And so that's where I was born and raised. I was born in the suburbs, raised in the suburbs, made a life for myself in the suburbs before moving. I went to undergrad in Oklahoma. I know.
Okay, how did you end up in Oklahoma?
They offered me the most money.
Okay,
I wanted to go out of state. They offered me the most money, and I went to an HBCU. For those who don't know, it's an historically Black college university.
Hey.
And it's been a sordid experience. But what I will say is that Chicago, I have as an adult, I always loved Chicago, I should mention. But I don't think that I really took Chicago for all that it was until I left Chicago. And then I was able to really appreciate the richness of the architecture, the history, the people, the food. And so I'm so proud to be from the Chicagoland area. So proud.
That's
I love
amazing.
that. So do you feel as though your experiences made you a better journalist and a media personality? And what are those experiences?
Okay. Well, I was the girl who had, Shar is very bright, but she's very disruptive on my report card. I think that because I have a natural curiosity that makes me a good journalist and kind of informs the work that I do.
Love the way you said a curiosity.
I have a natural curiosity.
Love
I want to know all the tea. I want to know everything. I want to know what your grandmother did. Oh, she was a seamstress? Nice. Okay. So I have a natural curiosity, but also I think that my positioning, just as I mentioned, being a Black woman who is trans, has made it so that there's a level of empathy that makes me relate to everyone. I'm willing to hear everyone's story because I think that lived experience, what that helped me do was really realize and accept that we're all threaded together. We all have different experiences, but there is a universal human thread that threads us together, I believe, at least. And so it makes me curious, even for the people. How can I word this?
Say it direct.
Even for the people that I might not agree with.
Okay. I love it.
Now you all know what I'm saying without me saying it, because I don't want to raise my blood pressure on the podcast.
For those who are hearing this only on audio, I really think you need to tune into the actual visuals.
Yes.
It's one of those things where I'm interested in knowing when you became such a horrible person.
Yes.
At what point in your life, what was the pivot? Did dad ruin Christmas that year?
Right?
What's your villain origin story? I am genuine, or were you just inherently born, a jackass?
Yes.
I want to know, I have that type of curiosity because I believe knowing those types of that pinpointing that can maybe help,
And there's a lot of that going on currently right now.
It's so much.
The political climate right now is heavy where you just gotta ask everybody, what happened?
I don't know.
Who did you wrong?
Things would be so much differently if people just, I guess, minded their own business. Why are you over here?
Right?
I don't understand that. It has been frustrating. I will say really quickly that I really hate that there's so many conversations around transness happening and no trans people are in the room. No one's talking to trans kids. There's no trans people in the room. Even around reproductive rights, there's oftentimes no women in the room. And if they are, then they're still, it's like, remember that one time, people are burying things. It's kind of like those politicians that are really anti-gay. And then you find out, it's only a matter of time before.
You find out something on their history and their past.
And so it's one of those things where I'm like, if trans people are not doing anything to infringe on what you got going on. So why are you so passionate about oppressing a group of people that's 0.5% of the population?
Thank you.
But I get it. It's a careful orchestration and someone has to be the boogeyman. And there's so much misinformation and disinformation floating around about the trans community that people buy into it without doing their own formidable research. And so, I'm scared. I'm not going to even front. I am scared for 2024. We got the AI.
We said the same thing.
The deep fakes, the AI.
Yes.
And we know that the Facebook aunties, no offense, but all you all need is a creative meme to be designed and you run with it and believe it. When people can then manipulate, politicians' mouths to say things that they didn't say and then, do the AI voice.
And the AI voices and then,
it takes a lot of work to do damage control and wheel things back in this day and age with technology. And that is what scares me because so many people are gullible.
Correct.
And everyone's looking for confirmation bias.
Speak
Everyone
on
is.
it. Speak on it.
It's the truth. I believe if they're okay, I'm going on a tangent now.
No, you're not. No, this is great.
When it comes to confirmation bias, what bothers me is that everybody wants to paint a picture that they're coming to the table, open. But I find that in my journalistic view, sitting on top of the mountain looking down at everyone, that's not necessarily true. If you believe terrible things about Black people, for example, if you believe Black women are welfare mamas and Black men are thugs, your brain is going to filter out everything else other than that to confirm what you already believe about Black people.
Correct.
And so to a degree, I believe that everyone functions in that way. And then in this current 24-hour news cycle, all that's done is ramp that up.
Yes, it does.
Now, do you feel an obligation to be a voice for marginalized groups and speak on things that are happening in the political climate? How do you balance that so it's not so bearing on you as well? It's a lot.
It is
It's a lot going on right now.
Yes. And so I go back and forth with this because I know that me just being visible is a form of activism, I believe. But I also find that anytime a Black woman, cis, trans, or otherwise, has a mic, there is this pressure to then be this big activist.
Correct.
And I believe that we all serve different roles. I'm not the girl that's necessarily going to be in the streets, taking rubber bullets and things like that's not my ministry, but I can write on it. I think we all have our strong points and our lanes when it comes to activism, but also I believe that people should just be allowed to exist because not everybody needs the microphone on top of that. There's plenty of people who have a microphone who don't need it.
Correct.
You know, or who are amplifying harmful messages.
Correct.
And so, yeah, there's a pressure there, but I balance it by kind of just planting my feet firm in the sand and reminding people that I am an entertainment journalist first. And I go back and forth. I do a lot of LGBTQ plus work, but I make sure that I'm also still reporting on J-Lo and Mary J. Blige so that people don't pigeonhole me because I cover both areas. And I find it just seems like, particularly with Black women who are trans, everybody got to be an activist and has to be an activist in the way in which the people signing the checks wants you to be. Yeah. And that can be harmful because not everybody, I'm going to speak for myself, the same reasons why I pivoted from hard news. I have an anxious personality. I'm very, very anxious, and lockdown didn't do anything but ramp that up.
Correct.
And so I don't believe that really aligns just with my personality type. I can go without eating for days. I can go without sleeping for days. Like it just does not align with my personality type. And in order for me to be healthy, continue being healthy, and be a well-rounded contributor to society, I have to do what's right for me.
Yeah.
And you all can take that how you want to take it, but I have to do what's right for me.
For yourself,
and we all have, like I said, we all have our role in this.
Yes.
And that is so true for us.
So true.
For us as a family, like we always are, we share our lives online and we are advocates for the LGBTQ plus community. We try to promote, same-sex parenting and normalizing that. But at the same time, just sharing the fact that we're parents. And, and those struggles and battles there that we just have as parents. And like, every topic that comes up, sometimes our audience is like, well, are you going to speak on this? Are you going to speak on that? Are you going to speak on this? And it's hard.
It's really hard.
It's hard to keep up, and you never want to speak on something that you don't know anything about.
Exactly.
Correct.
Because the same people begging you to speak on it will be the same people turning on you in the comment section.
Especially if you didn't.
And let's talk about, as a journalist, do you have to worry about cancel culture?
No. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Cancel culture does not exist.
Please elaborate.
It does not exist. And what I mean when I say that is there will always be people that will support these people. Will they take a minor financial dip? For the most part, people that are canceled are already pretty established. Let's start there. And then on top of that, a lot of the people that are quote unquote canceling them are already on the margins of their fan base. R. Kelly still has people protesting for him to get out of jail.
Big on it.
Bill Cosby still has supporters.
Yes.
So it's just, and you know what I will say is I don't think cancel culture exists if you're a cisgender heterosexual man. And it does not matter if you are white, Black, or otherwise. Women and more marginalized groups, it could be touch or go, but there's an audience for everything.
There's an audience for
everything. And so I just don't believe that it exists. I believe that it is, again, one of those types of boogeyman type situations. And a lot of people are crying about it. It's almost like when it comes to stand-up comedy.
Clear my throat too.
Oh, should I even call that comedy?
You know what? Let's name drop. I don't mind name dropping.
I'll say stand-up hot takes because it's not funny. The jokes are corny, but I find that when people plant their feet firm in the sand when it comes to cancel culture, it totally throws off the act. Because you're looking to be controversial. You're not looking to be funny. You're looking to be controversial. And yeah, like I said, there's an audience for everything. There's an audience for everything. There's an audience for everyone. And so I fundamentally do not believe that it exists. And even if companies step away and you get dropped from contracts, there will be others that come and sign you. We see that, even when it comes to, maybe even state sanctioned violence, police brutality, or when Karen's gone wild, these people, yes, lose their jobs, but there's a whole network underground that then, Karen went viral because she called someone the N-word in the Target parking lot. She loses her job. The story goes away.
Correct.
But she's hired elsewhere. She's not just, these policemen, when things happen, all they do is like go over to the next county or go to the next state at most. Like there's ain't nobody being canceled. Ain't nobody being canceled. But I will say the more marginalized you are, the greater the chances are, because you're already underrepresented and marginalized. So yeah.
That is so true. Now, when you're writing a piece of work or you're reporting on, what is your process? What makes Shar at the end of the day say, this is great, I'm ready to put this out into the universe?
So I'm a very wordy girl when it comes to writing. I'm wordy when it comes to speaking, but
wait, is writing difficult for you?
Oh my gosh.
Like for me it is. Like I'm a visual.
Yeah, so I went to school for broadcast journalism, but I do believe that, as a journalist, if you're going to call yourself a journalist, you need to know how to write. If you don't know how to write, then you're a host. Or you could be a broadcast journalist in the name of Barbara Walters, rest in peace. You can be a broadcast journalist, but I think that there's still a code of ethics to journalism because, that term is being all mixed and mashed now with the bloggers and the, Tamar Braxton called herself a journalist. And it's like, you were a great host on The Real, but you are not a journalist. Portia Williams calls herself it's one of those things. But for me, when it comes to writing, that is when my anxiety ramps up the most, as I think that's the area that I'm most insecure in, despite people telling me I'm a great writer. It takes a long time for me to formulate things. I remember at one point in 2021, I wrote for a publication and I had to do 3 articles a week, but they would all be in the same day. Wow. And I used to go to this coffee shop in LA. 3 articles. I would go to this coffee shop in LA that does not have power outlets. And that would be because I used to go to the WeWork and then I'd be there all day. They got kombucha on tap, cold brew. They got the snack cart rolling in. And so in an effort to stay on task and challenge myself, I would drive to this one coffee shop that has no power outlets and it's me versus the MacBook battery. Now, when the MacBook battery starts to die, the stories have to be done. Focus, put your phone down. That was
your threshold. That was
get you some avocado toast and a coffee and focus and get the stories done. And so it ramps up my anxiousness and my anxiety, but I get it done. I prefer talking though. I prefer speaking.
You prefer speaking.
Yeah.
So then what is the Shar process?
Oh, the process. Sorry. So the process.
Share some tips and wisdoms with us.
For which one? Which area for me?
Both. Let's journalism, broadcasting, anything.
So the foundation of it for me is research. The more you know, the more you're going to have to work with and the better padding you can have. When it comes to speaking, when I'm doing red carpets or speaking engagements.
Ooh, red carpets.
It helps to know not only the event, but maybe the history of the event, past recipients, who's going to be there.
And do you research everybody that's going to be on the red carpet?
No. Oh my gosh, they're so chaotic. You don't have time for that.
Okay.
With red carpets, you get there and you get a tip sheet. It's a packet that has everybody's face and picture on it. There are some people I don't know, some people I recognize. And what I do is when people are coming down the carpet, because at first they take their photos at the step and repeat. And there'll be a publicist with the name, Ebony and Denise are coming down, And what I do is I whip out my phone and I'll Google Ebony and Denise and click news. So then I can have, not only can I know who you are, but I can have something to talk to you about. And I ask very open-ended questions. So tell me about what YouTube's been like, instead of asking very pointed questions, because as an active listener, I'm then able to monkey bar and then, speak to something that you just said. So that's my process for that. With writing, I just try to collect as much information as I can, because writing varies. Some pieces they want 250 to 500 words. Other pieces they want 2,000 words. And you have to stretch that out and be detailed. And it helps to get quotes and things like that. So they're 2 very different processes, but they both require homework.
Have you ever had, this is getting into little smaller anecdotes, you ever have problems pronouncing names and how do you get through that? Or
oh my gosh, yes.
Have you ever had a moment where you're oh my gracious house, I can't believe I just said that?
Right.
So I have no shame in saying, baby, how do you say your name again? Okay, let's start there. No, really. I'm so sorry. I'm reading one thing. My mind is telling me, just remind me really quickly. Because there's ways to say it. There's ways to get around it without making it awkward or a big deal.
Okay.
Correct.
And so I have no issues saying, remind me your name again. But no, I've never really, I can't say that I have misspoken with I think it's like yeshiva or yeshiva. It's some type of Jewish university that I was speaking to, and I think I said yeshiva and it's yeshiva. It made me think of Oprah Winfrey when she first started her career. One of her famous stories is that she was so busy about imitating Barbara Walters.
Correct.
And, sitting how she said in her cadences that Oprah live on air, this is when she was young, she said Canada, but it was supposed to be Canada. And she said Canada. And that was the moment that she realized that you're a better Oprah than you are a better pretend Barbara Walters. Like, be yourself.
Be yourself. Be authentic.
So that's the lesson in it. And that's me being myself, essentially. Remind me your name again. Or if I don't know people's projects, I'm like, so tell me why you're here on this carpet. There's ways and there's inflections. I believe anything can be asked and anything can be said. It's how you ask it and how you say it.
Okay. I'm manifesting that a book is going to be coming out by Miss Shar Jossell, where she is going to be giving and sharing all these tips and trips. Ready for those who want to be future journalists or media personalities. I'm manifesting.
Listen, I only know, I'm learning as I go. I only know so much. And I think it's also a function of, do you have it? Are you in it for the right reasons? And do you have it?
And what are those right reasons?
The right reasons for me is amplifying voices of people who might otherwise might not be heard.
Speak on it.
And also informing. And I can always tell when someone's in it for what I would deem, this is a Shar thing, the wrong reasons. You're in it to be famous. You're in it to get your selfie with Taraji P. Henson. Like, those people fizzle out so quickly because it is not, part of the job as a journalist is to make it look conversational and make it look fun. But if you have it, then you just naturally do it. If you don't have it, it's going to feel like work, but that doesn't mean that tool can't be sharpened. But if you're in it for the wrong reasons, it's going to be hell.
Correct.
It's going to be hell.
So this is your passion.
Oh gosh,
your
yes.
Baby.
It has refined. Yes, it is my passion.
That's amazing.
I cannot wait to guest co-host The View.
Yes, manifest. Let's go. We're putting that plug in right now.
That will happen.
It will happen. I'm gonna be like,
I can't wait to bang my fist on the table and say, whoopee, I don't agree.
Right? Do you believe in the power of manifestation? Because we certainly do.
I do. I believe that even prayer is a form of manifestation. But you know what I've been obsessed with? I found my corner of TikTok, right?
Okay. What side of TikTok are you on?
Once you find your corner.
Wait, what are your hashtags? What side of TikTok are you on? It's
not really a hashtag. It's like with the algorithm. Okay, to be fair, sorry, friends. I follow friends, but I don't look at their stuff.
Correct.
I'm on the For You tab. And at first I was like, yuck, TikTok, not getting on that. That's for the kids doing those dances. But once you find your tribe. There are so many people that have challenged my thoughts around manifestation, around, like, there's so many different philosophies. Like, the more you focus on something, the harder it's going to be to obtain. You have to release yourself from the outcome and just plant that seed and have full confidence that it will happen. But then there's other philosophies that are like, write it down 10,000 times, focus on it, focus on it, focus on it. So I think it's one of those things as far as, like, just really, I think manifestation goes hand in hand with confidence. You have to say it. You have to speak it. You have to believe it. You have to write it. And I did an exercise on January 8th, because I journal a lot, but I did an exercise on January 8th where I wrote from the future.
Yes.
Just 6 months into the future, or 7. I think I dated it July 8th, 2023. And I spoke to myself as if I was already, like, the things that I wanted within these first few months of the year, I already had. And I was telling my January 8th self, like, girl, don't worry, because this happened, and this happened. And so it's one of those things for me that I've totally bought into it. And I give myself grace, though, because I did used to give myself a hard time about, like, the vibrations. And if I was having a bad moment or a bad day, and I'm like, life is not that binary. There's so much gray area. The universe, the omniscient, gets it. We're human beings. We're going to have human experiences. And just because I might have a bad day or a bad moment or feel low does not mean that I'm, like, interrupting the wavelength of my manifestation, because that is part of it. It's unrealistic to expect to be vibrating high 24/7.
Correct.
No one, if anyone's telling you that, they're lying. Like, we're human. They're not having a human experience. And so it's been an exercise for me me hand in hand and personally, just to extend more grace to myself and others, because we are just multi-layered.
That part, give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Grace
So
and
hard.
time.
It's so hard.
Be gentle to yourself. So true. Now, as the queen of storytelling, sorry, I am now professing that, okay?
I will wear that crown. Thank you.
Please wear the crown. Thank you. We've been playing games with our guests, and we think that the perfect game to play with you is a little bit of story time. Are you ready to play with us?
Oh, yes. Yes, sign me up.
All right, let's do
We gotta
it.
get this bowl.
All right, so we're going to pick from this bowl here of different topics, and you're going to try to equate it to maybe a story or an experience that you have. And if it's not relatable, put it back in and pick another one back out.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Let's see. My 21st birthday. My 21st birthday, I was actually with my wife. I think we went to the strip club.
Well, that might be quite accurate. Let's move on to the next story.
Did you have the chicken wings?
You know that'd be the best chicken wings at the strip club.
The strip club has some good food.
They do have some good food.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Check the health rating though. If they don't have an A, move on.
I can already tell this doesn't apply to me. Hold on. Okay. First concert. Oh, this is a good story time. My first concert was Boys to Men and Babyface.
Ooh.
Oh,
That is a good one.
that was I was
very good one.
fangirling. It was the best experience ever.
I would have cried when, what's that song, The Well Runs Dry comes on.
Or This Is for the Cool.
Yes.
Oh, and he came out singing that. Woo.
The best gift I ever gave or received.
Story time. See a special someone. Memory
This
deep.
is kind of tough for me because I've received so many great gifts. I don't want to be sappy, but I'm going to be very honest. The best gift that I've ever received is patience from others. That is the best gift I've ever received, and grace.
Ooh, that was good.
That was a good
I was
one.
expecting some tea, but that
And
was
something
I was like-
materialistic, right? And the best gift I've ever given, I'd say is the same thing: patience and grace. It's the same thing, Yeah, that's
Love
what
it.
I'd say.
Love
Okay.
it. Here you go.
We're going again?
Yep, let's do another round.
All right. Favorite pride story. Oh, wow. Okay.
That's really good.
That's a good one. Let's see. Pride story. I mean, I guess it's when we meet our followers in person. I think one time during Pride, we was actually at the Pride Parade, and someone came up to us and just was like in tears just from meeting us, and then their story.
And that's having like support.
The
and
support,
acceptance.
and acceptance, and
feeling
how
that.
we felt like their moms. I mean, that really touched. That was a great story.
Yeah, that's definitely. That's so true. Okay, here we go.
Was I supposed to keep my paper?
Just in case. Hold on.
Sorry, because I put it right back in.
No. Time you got in trouble at school. Oh,
Did you ever get in trouble?
I've never shared this story.
Oh, let me tune in.
One time
I remember. Yeah.
One time I did cheat on an exam. Yeah, I did.
Who hasn't?
But
I mean, don't do it, but
Don't do it. But getting caught sucks. It really, really, really sucks. And I got in a lot of trouble.
may I ask, what was your method of cheating?
I know, right? We
No,
all
because
have
this is
a
old
method.
school. This is before, you kids have the cell phones and stuff who might be watching this.
This is so true. So I had a really small, what I thought was small paper with like a lot of notes on it.
Yeah.
I had it in the palm of my hands and I cuffed my hand over my paper.
No.
I
You
know.
were supposed to put that
Put it
under your
here.
thigh.
Yes.
See, you're supposed to put that under your thigh and
All
be
right.
moving your leg.
All right. And this is the reason why I got caught, everybody. This is the reason why I got
trying to
caught.
cuff it.
Yes, I was
Shout
trying
out
to cuff it in my hand. I love it.
First job. Okay, so my first job, it was kind of 2 at 1. Again, Capricorn. I was working, okay? I did the ID cards. Like I took the picture.
Okay.
For the city colleges of Chicago. So I went around to like DePaul and Columbia. And I, please sit there, double click. You can step over there and get your ID. And then I also have a background in cosmetics. I didn't go to cosmetology school, but I did work at, the Sephora's and the Macy's.
I believe you because your face is
Thank you. It comes in handy living in LA and having to piece Humpty Dumpty together. It helps to know to do your own hair and makeup, really. I know girls that are like shelling it out every time they have something to do. But I also worked at this, it's now closed, but Lincoln Mall in Matson, Illinois. I was at Beat Aesthetics Bar. Ooh. And I waxed eyebrows and did the individual lashes.
I believe that too because I've been staring at your eyebrows.
Thank you. They are quite legendary. From fourth grade.
Eyebrows on fleek.
Speaking of story time, really quickly, because you just brought up eyebrows. Fourth grade, I don't know if everybody went through this phase, but I did. I just randomly picked up my mom's shaving razor and I shaved my eyebrows because I wanted them to look like Victoria Adams, who's now Victoria Beckham of the Spice Girls. Story time. And yes, I messed them up.
Oh.
So we're all going to answer this one. Our favorite celebrity encounter.
What would be more juicy if it was your not favorite celebrity?
Okay.
But just speaking on it. But okay, we'll keep it PG.
All right. So our favorite celebrity encounter of the VP. Kamala Harris.
Madam VP, yes.
She was amazing, and she's so down to earth.
Yes, our daughter had the opportunity to interview her, and it was an amazing experience.
It
was.
Yes.
It was just 2 months ago.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Shout out to Kamala.
Yes.
And she is so down to earth. I just looked at her, and I was like, you are so beautiful. And she's like, it's the lashes.
Yes.
I promise you when I take it off, I look totally different.
And we were so nervous.
I was like, that's a really down to earth moment.
That is. And very
With the
honest.
Madam VP?
Yes.
Oh.
I've had quite a few.
You have.
Great celebrity encounters.
Yes.
Okay. Been to people's homes and everything. People just very nice. No hidden agendas, no Illuminati craziness, just great stuff. But in the name of The View, since I mentioned The View.
Okay.
Manifest.
Last month I went to New York and I stopped by The View. I was in the audience and I'll keep this brief, but I was in the audience. And so on my flight to New York, I ran into this woman, shout out to DJ Lena Bradford. She's an incredible DJ, but we did a BuzzFeed video together back in 2017. Nice. So I hadn't seen her, spoken to her really since 2017, but I recognized her in our terminal. So I told her what I was going to New York for because my sister was performing, and my dad. Shout out to my dad. He's a very what is it like a. I don't want to say like a stereotypical, but he's a manly man. Okay,
he's a manly man. Okay,
but he also is a secret fan of The View. So I got those tickets, and so I went. And so Lena, I told her my plans, and Lena just so happens to be friends with Whoopi Goldberg and Sarah Haynes. And when I was in the audience,
Sarah very well.
Literally out of nowhere, this just happened in March.
Okay,
really?
In the audience, Whoopi throws to commercial. They play the music out, and then Whoopi then turns to the audience and says, "I'm looking for Shar. Where's Shar?"
No.
Or excuse me, "I'm looking for Shar. Where's Shar?" And yes, I almost ruined my pants, if you know what I mean.
What?
But she and Sarah gave me a very lovely shout out, including blown kisses and a lot of their time. Sure. And Sunny's great too. I mean, everybody was great. Everybody was great.
You're going to be on there.
I had the Whoopi, the Goldberg.
Yes.
She knows my name. She shouted me out.
You're going to be
Not
on The
everybody
View.
has that to their credit.
They
No,
don't.
They do not.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
I don't want to end this. I'm having such a great
conversation.
time with you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. So as moms, of course, we're constantly learning from our children. So we've been doing like this little segment of what you've learned from your kids this week. So,
you know I'm not a mother. Well, I'm not a mother. I am mother. Okay,
You are mother.
I just want to let you all know I don't have children.
But you do stay up to date with the current trends and everything that's going on with the kids.
I try to.
Are into. So is there something you think you've learned this week from them?
From the kids.
From the kids. With the Z.
There's so much. I try not to turn into that old grumpy woman shaking her fist saying, "Get off of my lawn." Because they think they know everything. God bless them. Let me see. I mean, the term mother, everybody's calling everybody mother. She's so mother for that. She's so mother. You know, Ariana Grande coughs and they're like, oh, she's so mother for that. So it's like, I'm learning that. And I mean, they keep me on my toes. I just love, it's like peering behind the blind, so to speak, to see like the dances and the lingo. And yeah, I'd say mother is what I've learned. Because I'm like, what exactly does this mean? But, you know, depending on what you do, I was called mother at the Glad Media Awards. Ooh. She's so mother for that.
You were at the Glad Media Awards. That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I walked the carpet too. We'll talk about it after the show. Yeah, that's what I learned. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, we've learned there's this new app. I don't even know if it's new, called Be Real. Where it's supposed to snap like genuine, authentic moments.
I've heard of this.
Yes.
It's almost like the Instagram,
reality.
but you have to snap. It's like you snap what you see, but you're also snapping yourself.
No time to be cute. No time for the right aesthetics and settings. You just got to be real in
That's
the
not
moment.
an app for me. I'm a true blue millennial. There has to be some sort of curation going on.
A little bit of curation. Just
You're about to see me at 5:30 in the morning.
I don't always look my best.
Real by saying, look, I still need a little curation.
I need my coffee before I could be real.
So we got to be honest. The Be Real is for a certain demographic. Just like I mentioned the Facebook aunties in the show. I'm sure they're like, oh, that Twitter schmitter, that's not for me, you know. So you got to be real.
You got to be real. Oh, is it that time? Do we have to?
Unfortunately.
Sure. We need to exchange like contact information and everything.
Yes,
like we have to stay in contact with you. If our audience wanted to follow you, where can they find you?
You can follow me everywhere at Shar Says So.
Yes.
And that's Shar with an S. I think I have my S necklace on today. Shar with an S. Says, not say. Some people, I think there's an account that's like Shar Say So.
Yes, there is.
But I'm Shar Says So. Because what I say goes. Okay. You remember it that way.
Tell them.
Get it correct. And if you guys want to be able to follow us, you can follow us at Team2Moms everywhere, with the exception of Twitter is... Olivia has 2 moms. Wake up, Denise. Wake up. All right, please keep the comments going. Let us know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Past Your Bedtime YouTube. We're going to have more episodes coming. We're going to have more great guests on here.
Yes, and make sure to listen to us on anywhere that you listen to your podcast as well.
Thank you, guys. Bye.